Welcome, everyone, to this next episode of LabGab. LabGab is a series that is being sponsored by SS White that is being kept short and sweet for about 15 minutes, and I'm hosting these. And basically, the idea is that I want to bring on my friends and colleagues who I'm so blessed to have so many of, but that are so highly respected and really are doing a great deal to contribute to the laboratory industry. Today, our guest is Dennis Urban, CDT, who, if you don't know who Dennis is, I don't know where you've been, but he's one of the busiest men in the show business, as we like to say. So, yep. Dennis, welcome.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate it. And special thanks to you and SS White for having me on the LabGab broadcast today. And it's a pleasure and an honor to participate.
Excellent. So, Dennis has got a very, very busy life. He's like me, workaholics get a lot done, and now that we're working from home more than ever, we're not missed as much. As a matter of fact, my wife looks at me and says, "Don't you need to go somewhere?" But yeah, I do need to go somewhere, please.
Yeah,
definitely. But Dennis has got a lot on his plate with DSG. He's doing fantastic work with the DSG NDX combined group now, and also with his role as chair of the NBC board for the National Association of Dental Laboratories. So, Dennis, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you reel off some of the fantastic things you have to share.
Great. Can I start with SS White, though? Not that I'm giving a commercial here.
Please, jump in.
I want to just talk about one of the experiences I've had with SS White. And, I've always thought of SS White as a high-end dental company providing solutions for predictable solutions for patient outcomes and their products. And, when it comes to the dental laboratory, a number of these products have aided me and the laboratories I work with on the efficiency of finishing techniques. And I know SS White has many great product offerings for laboratories on the crown and bridge side. But as you know, David, I had my background is on removables, implant dentures, and partial dentures. And a few years back, I was asked to come up with a system to help dental technicians become more efficient and productive with their finishing techniques. So I came up with we called it the Urban 9-point finishing system. And it enabled technicians to do batch finishing on removables in a fraction of the time, utilizing specific steps combined with the use of specific burrs. And recently, I took some of the carbide offerings from SS White and actually reduced the system to 5 points or 5-step system. And I utilized the ENF series of carbide burrs, like E143 and I think it was the E400 series. And these burrs can be utilized for both analog and digital denture technologies. And I speak about this in my lectures, and it actually reduces the finishing time for removables. And removables is so big in this industry, and sometimes a dental technician is going to have maybe 15, 20 dentures to finish at one time. So with this technique, it actually worked. So, and I'm not trying to do a commercial here, but this is actually, the burrs are fantastic, and they last a long time too. So I just wanted to add that to before I started here, about SS White.
Well, I know that SS White greatly appreciates that truth, and you and I are in the same school of batching work and working on efficiencies without any compromise in the quality that results. And I'm right there with you. Mine's 5-step as well because of the smooth cut of the carbides, and also those polishing points just save a lot of time in polishing. But thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I show this in my webinars too, and it's implemented in a lot of our labs throughout the DSG network, and hopefully implemented in the future with the NDX labs too. So good to
Excellent.
Go.
So speaking of NDX and now DSG, why don't you share a little bit about your role there and the really cool things that you've been doing in the last year?
Yeah, it's really exciting that what this acquisition from NDX and DSG now. It's well over 60 labs and over 4,000 employees now. So we're actually largest lab network in the country now, and it's exciting because we both have our strengths, and we're going to join those strengths together, and we're going to utilize them. And my role is still going to be education in many different fronts. Anything from webinars to internal training, working with universities, and putting together programs for our clinicians and things like that. So it's right up my alley, and I love what I do. And that's what I've been doing. So in conjunction with my other duties, like you mentioned before, with the National Board of Certification, and my role as chair over there. So, but we're excited. It's a positive thing. And I know NDX. I know with DSG over the years from being in the industry so long, and I think this is only a positive aspect of what's going to come to fruition. So we're looking forward to it.
You mentioned to me when we were together at Visions 21, your development of online content for residents in dental schools.
Right. So what happened, I was approached right after the pandemic started. I was approached by NYU and Louis Ara to do some participation in creating a digital platform for residents at NYU. And so right now we're working on the first part of this series, and it's going to be with RPDs. And matter of fact, I have a big call tomorrow at NYU regarding that. And it was just mainly because the students couldn't get to the university to participate. And so we came up with the digital platform. And once we get past the RPDs, it's going to go into full dentures, and then we're going to go into other areas also. But it's snowballing now, and it's really working out well. And other universities are going to capture and grab onto this whole concept here. So that's really worked out well. It's among some of the other things I've done since 2020, March 13th, 2020, when COVID first hit. I still remember that date. But now really involved with the university and helping them plan this whole curriculum for their students and the residents.
That's fantastic. Yeah, as you well know from our time together at Drake, that was a major part of my role the last 10, 11 years that I was there, was going out and teaching residents and developing content. And you and I we're literally twins in what we teach and the way we teach, which I'm very proud to say that I'm even in your class of educators.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember your participation with that. Yeah,
that's so brilliant to make that available now, because it just makes the coverage and honestly, that's the way they prefer to get their information. It's on demand, and so kudos to you and to Lou, of course. Lou, I appreciate Lou's that. A longtime friend. I have such admiration for him. I think he's one of the greatest leaders in the industry, manufacturing and otherwise. Yes, he is. He's got a good heart, and he's so focused on what he needs to do, and he's just added so much to this industry. I'm proud to work with him. I really am. Yeah, and a really big brain to go with his big heart. So. Yes, yeah, definitely. So, but so otherwise, with as far as the NBC, last year we had to cancel many practical exams due to COVID-19. Sure. And with this crisis, NBC's project on providing remote practical testing, it had to be accelerated because that wasn't really planned till like 2021. And we worked fast and furiously to bring this vision to a reality. And within months, we had all the pieces of the puzzle put together, which is great. So now the practical exam can be taken remotely at a dental laboratory or of the candidate's choice under the supervision of a third-party proctoring service. And the remote practical exams impacted the certification process in an extremely positive way, and it's been well received. And in addition, we implemented the computer-based testing for the written exams also. So now technicians are able to test 24/7, 365 days a year within their testing window. So that's been a positive thing. And we have such a great, the people at NBC and NADL. I mean, they're such dedicated people, and they do things with unselfishly. So we just got on a phone and we just planned these. They're on Zoom meetings, planned this whole project, and it came to fruition. And now it's been so well received. People are just taking these practical exams at their own laboratories. And I know years ago we had to travel everywhere to take these exams. I remember going to Chicago for my practical, and my written, I went to Biloxi, Mississippi, so now they can just set up a few cameras in the laboratory and have a proctoring service watch them. And then we grade their actual work at the NBC at headquarters in Florida. So it's really good. That is such a timely response. And it's very interesting to me how, as a society and especially as a profession, we respond and raise our game in the light of catastrophic situations, which is certainly what we're nearing, hopefully, the end of in the fall. But that is just brilliant use. And I know the board. I know Mark Stewart, my friend from Drake, is your friend from Drake. Our friend is in line to succeed you, and he's a little nervous about following in your footsteps. I know. I told him I'm going to give him a 5-year term. I was kidding about him about that. But I assured him when we were in Nashville that he was going to do a fantastic job, because we both known Mark. I've known Mark for 30 years and over 30 years, and he is a very, very bright man, and he's all about quality.
He is.
But kudos to the board and to your leadership to really bring that up, because
I appreciate that.
We've been kind of flatlined, I think, on people taking CDT exams in the last few years. Just the travel and the cost made it very prohibitive for young people in the industry, and this is fantastic, because I think it's just really going to pick things up. And also it dovetails very nicely into our work with the foundation board.
Right, definitely.
That in on our meeting in Nashville, but it's we are perfect partners to work on the things that we do in our individual boards, with us raising funds to develop content.
Right.
To get that to 200 and 300 courses in the foundation website for people to come in and take for continuing education and continue to develop. I'm very proud of all of that.
That's great. And, like you mentioned, the foundation really came through during the crisis also, because people weren't able to take their courses for CDT credits or CE credits. And there were a lot of things online, but there were a lot of dental courses and a lot of clinicians courses. But foundation offered so many different courses for free, at no charge. And they were able to get their CDT credits. And, and we even extended the payment time for CDTs to renew at NBC. So, we felt it, we knew people were going through hard times, and it really came to fruition as far as a good cohesive team and a positivity from the people out there who viewed NBC. So really got a positive outlook on what the NBC was doing, which is great, So
it's out of futility comes great ideas. And but I know that was a lot of hard work, and I know I, as well as all of our colleagues, appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think that we want to get the message out as our role as dental technicians too. It's constantly evolving in an ever-changing industry, and it's the collaboration between dental technicians and dentists. It really presents a value and importance for patients, unlike any other time in history. So especially with implant and digital case planning technology, and dental technicians play a major role in the overall success of our oral health, and that's the message we want to get out there. And I think a lot of technicians feel alone, and when they see that camaraderie and the elevation of what you're actually trying to do in this industry as a dental technician through certification, it just raises their level of dedication.
And there's no question that digital enhancement of the things we do on a daily basis are attracting young talent like we were unable to do prior to that. It really was difficult to find people that would commit and really stay at it long enough to become really good. A lot of competition for talent out there, but our industry is as attractive now as it's ever been.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the landscape is a little different from what it used to be, as everybody knows. But it's I'm seeing more collaboration now than ever before between clinicians and dental technicians.
Yes.
And this includes, as a proper protocol and case planning for, implants, excuse me, and also chairside support. And I think I mentioned to you at the meeting that it created a large challenge, the pandemic, for in-person support. And so we had to improvise. So we decided to offer virtual chairside support on many levels. So I came up with an idea about virtual chairside conversions. So I implemented the virtual chairside denture conversion support, and this is guiding clinicians through the process of converting an existing denture or an immediate denture into a screw retained denture using my PowerPoint presentation over Zoom, and everything in real time with the patient, and it proved successful. When I first mentioned this to some clinicians, they said, well, how are we going to do this? How are we supposed to do this? I said, well, just walk through it, as step by step. So we'd get on a call the day before and maybe go through the presentation, and the day of the surgery, when the patient was in the chair, they were doing this chairside conversion. The only thing they had to do, I wasn't there to finish the denture and cut out the palate, and they had to do that themselves. So there was they were all thumbs there for a little while, but it worked out well, So it was a good experience.
And the nice thing about that, for them to need to do that or have to do that in that circumstance, just elevates their appreciation of us. Because they forget what it takes to get it done.
Right. Well, I remember speaking earlier. We were talking about education and webinars and virtual education, And I think a lot of people thought that virtual education was just going to be go by the wayside, but it's more popular than ever before, So, and I can remember my last day of travel before COVID was March 13, 2020, and I got a call from DSG saying, Dennis, we have to come up with a bunch of webinars to really continue our visibility to our clinicians and our clients. So I came up with a series of about 1-hour webinars, many different topics: full dentures, partial dentures, case planning, implants, bite splints, and things like that. But we were online with the first presentation under 2 weeks, and it proved unbelievably successful. And I remember we only started out with maybe 25, 30 clinicians. And the recent one, the webinar I did last week, we had over 400 clinicians on the webinar. So really, it's really created a big impact on education in the industry.
That's fantastic. It's amazing how we've continued to evolve and adapt at what I would consider my ancient age. And it's keeping me young. I feel as energized as I ever have about this business and learning and continuing to develop skills to educate.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the future is very, very bright on all fronts.
I agree, and it's, and things are only going to get better. And I'm so surprised how business is back to normal as far as the production and the amount of work that we're getting throughout the network at DSG and National Dentex, and through other laboratories too. You heard it at Vision 21. Everybody pretty much came back strong, and laboratories are busy. Unfortunately, some laboratories did go out of business. When in 2020, but the ones who stayed in business came back pretty strong. And we're getting a lot of support out there for clinicians, and that's why I mentioned earlier, about the collaboration between the dental technician and the clinician. I just see it more and more, especially with the younger dentists out there too. So, I'm not saying the older dentists are not doing it, or the more experienced dentists, but I think the younger technicians getting into school so eager to be successful on these types of cases with digital technology and things like that. We have to collaborate for a successful case. So it's really important.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that, and this as well as I do, and your work there and your work throughout your career, is that as they continue to remove areas of curriculum that were involved in prosthodontics from dental school's educational track, they need us, and they are really eager to have us come in and participate, whether it be remotely or live. And that's why I was able to just be so tremendously successful with that model at Drake, as you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because they didn't have time to teach it, and they were happy to have us come in and provide support for them, and of course remunerate with business. And that's the way that lab was built on training both dentists and dental assistants, and of course our team. But now more than ever, and you mentioned collaborative. That's my favorite way to present, whether it's remotely or live, is to be on a podium with a clinician, showing experiences of cases and what everybody's role was. I've always really, for a long time, as I've worked with various manufacturers, have insisted that we promote CE that has assistants, dentists, and technicians in the same room, because that way on Monday, things actually change. They go back and do something with the information instead of important components missing the whole thing, and then it's just confusion. So you and I are both on that same track and always have been. And
yeah, definitely. Well, I always remember you at going to UNC and all these universities and teaching and getting everybody on board with the right methods of doing things and collaboration and case planning. And it proved to be really successful for Drake at the time, because your collaboration with them internally, with the students and residents there, in many different levels, different universities, brought us in a lot of business. And we had to follow through with the quality and the know-how, and we had to do a little hand-holding, I think, too. All of us did, but we did it as a team. And
absolutely, and that's what made my job. That's what made my job so easy. Is that as I knew, as I passed them off to you and to Andre and to Mark, that they were going to be well taken care of, because we truly did have one of the most knowledgeable teams in dentistry, in the laboratory industry, regarding clinical procedure. And I really think that had as much to do with our success as the quality of the dentistry that we provide. And
I agree.
that's what I teach our colleagues every time I'm on meetings with technicians. I tell them about this very conversation. Say, this is really the way things need to be done, because they're coming out without as much knowledge as they did 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
And this is a way you think of what you gave back to the dental industry by doing that, and what they're giving to patients right now, so it comes full circle. What you gave to them as far as education is enabling them to provide service for patients and changing people's lives because of what you did, and this is why I'm so honored to be the chair of the NBC, because we help get that message across to dental technicians, and we change people's lives on a daily basis, and with all these different restorations, and just raising their self-esteem and just changing the way they live, and being more feel better about themselves, being able to function and eat and smile, and people don't realize that. But a lot of technicians, though, they get in a rut, especially with high production. They sit at the lab, they do this day in, day out, they get in a rut, and they really have to try to remember and focus that this is why they're doing this, for the success of the patient, and patient acceptance, and also, really have to feel like that patient is with us at the bench, we're working on these cases,
Absolutely.
But, continuing education for dental technicians is important. I know so many technicians around the country that have never even gone to a trade show, or they've been, and you can see the differences, in the way people react to the industry. So, it's a more positive reaction with dental technicians who are involved in what they do in the dental industry, both on the clinical and the laboratory side.
Well, we all know that having a job that allows you to contribute and do things of value to people, for people, and make a difference is way above money as far as a rating. Job well done, and the opportunity to continue to develop. And these last few generations that are coming down the pipeline, they're insistent about it. And if they don't have that opportunity, they're gone.
Yeah, definitely.
I admire them for that. They don't have to sit around and be patient, wait your turn or anything like that. No, things are no longer like that, and I'm very happy to see that. I think it's just a win-win for everybody involved.
Yeah. And it's just things are changing so quickly too. With the different technologies. Digital technology being one of them. But I remember changing my presentations maybe every couple of months to add things, take things away. I'm doing it on a weekly basis. And it's funny because today I had an experience. I had some videos put together, and they were saved as regular movie videos, and they weren't MP4s. So I couldn't get them to my PowerPoint presentation. That I had to do a presentation next week, and I had to call the IT department. And they said, "No, Dennis, you have to convert these files, all of the MP4s, and then insert them in your PowerPoint." I thought I knew everything about PowerPoint. So you could see we're learning as we go. So it doesn't matter how old you are or how long you've been in this business. We always learn. And I always learn from the people that I lecture to, or I'm in the seminars with and webinars, and I always learn something. Even last week with a large 2-hour webinar I did, I think we had 3 breaks with questions, and I learned. I learned. So if you stop, if you think you stop learning, then you're in trouble. So it's a big part of the success of dental technicians and clinicians in this industry.
Oh, no question. When you stop learning, you must not be breathing anymore.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's good, and the industry is doing well. And I like where we're headed. And it's an exciting time. We had a rough time last year, but let's look forward and look at the positive aspects and build from there.
Absolutely. And Dennis, I love your energy, man. You're so good for the industry. And
thank you.
You and I have been at this for a long time, but
I know,
I've always admired your work, and especially your abilities as an educator and a technician.
Thanks, David. Same here. Same with you too. And
it's been such a pleasure being with you today. We probably ran long considering what our format was set up to be, but I think there's a lot of valuable information here, and I'm hoping that we don't end up with too much on the cutting room floor, because this has been a great discussion.
It's great, and we can probably go on for a couple more hours here, but and speak.
Not without a beer or a glass of wine.
A glass of wine, right? Yeah, next time we'll do some wine. But that's great. But no, thanks so much, David, and thanks to everybody at SS White for having me on today and on LabGab. It's been a pleasure, and I hope I shared some experiences that help you grow also, all of you out there. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Be well.
Thank you. You too. Have a great night. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.